every hero of every story got vulnerable. Otherwise, he wasn't going to change his track. Once he got vulnerable, he got into his hero's journey, and then what he found is that, oh, shit, I'm in trouble. So he had to call into something deeper, and that is the warrior. A lot of times, heroes and warriors are mistaken. Sometimes they're mistaken with soldiers. Soldi, that means getting paid to fight. That's like mercenary. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the freedom fighter, the one that's standing up for people who are either weak or infirm, they're babies, they're pregnant mothers, they're elderly, or they're infirm or have some kind of a limitation. So the warrior is in his full power, and he stands for that emotionally, spiritually, physically, and even mentally. So a lot of times a boy wants to be a warrior. He wants to be the hero. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm not talking about the one that wants to save the world. You can't. It's not your job. Or your calling is to defend and protect what you're called to defend and protect. And that takes a little bit of work. So the mature masculine knows that he does things that are hero or heroic, and he doesn't have to fix everything. He's got some clear purpose. He also knows he needs to set boundaries and serve a purpose bigger than him, not just to prove that I'm powerful and strong. The warrior is misunderstood. And in our culture, when you hear it, a lot of people will reject the idea of a warrior, even though without it, your people, your ancestors wouldn't be here, male and female. If they weren't warriors, you wouldn't have arrived. So being strong, being powerful, and having lots of muscles is only one aspect or image of the warrior. The warrior fights in defense, but he protects what's important. So now's the time for you to think what's important for you. And where have you been a warrior on the inside? Maybe being disciplined, saying no, or being strong and keeping yourself focused on those things that you like. Because it's in your biochemistry. It's in your DNA. If you don't have enough of a warrior, you're in trouble. If you have too much of a warrior, you're in trouble. So we'll go back to the three-pronged vision of the warrior. At the bottom is the one who's brutal. He'll hurt you even if he doesn't have to. On the other side is the weakling. He just can't get up off the bench. He can't suit up. He can't show up. He's just too afraid. He hasn't handled his vulnerabilities. Because if I'm vulnerable, I can get help. If I'm vulnerable in my lover, I can get help, and then I am trained, I am healed, and then I can find my power and bring it forward. So those two shadows, the bully, the brutal, and the weakling, are the shadow side of it. Why? Because we've all been hurt. That's a universal truth. Hurt people hurt people. You have suffered. I have suffered. But if I'm not vulnerable to that suffering, then I will be a nasty warrior or I'll be a weakling. Sometimes that turns into sadomasochism or just masochism, someone who continues to hurt himself or hurt others. That shadow is scared and angry because it's withheld something in the lover quadrant, that unnecessary brutality. It's a cry of pain. It's a cry for help. There's no direction. There's no guide. There's no balance. It's all about my lizard self. My early programming is running the show. It's not going to produce the kind of results I want. That shadow lover drives this by fighting or fleeing, being the coward or the weakling. So what we want to do is to strengthen the awareness of those two truths. Where was I bullied? Where do I have to grandstand? Where did I have a weak moment? If I had a weak moment, That's not my life. It was a weak moment, and I need to go back and be vulnerable about that. So this driven by selfishness stuff has got to stop if I really want to be in my power as a serving warrior. The self-indulgent stuff with a addicted warrior is dangerous. He doesn't stand for his beliefs or others, even if their beliefs are different from him. So he's terrified, he hurts others, and he declines any form of confrontation. He is a boy and remains a boy. All immature or dangerous warriors are hurt boys at their core. So wherever you were as a hurt boy, handle that. Be gentle. Find that sweetness in that lover quadrant so you can get strong and be the warrior you were meant to be. Here's the opposite side of all that. This is the good news. If you're pissed about something, which I hope you're pissed about something that's going on in the world, because if you're not, you haven't been paying attention. You need to get that anger and cool it down. Get focused. Use it in service for injustice, racial injustice, corruption, others that are unprotected. By facing your fear with the help of others, it empowers you and it shows others how to be powerful. You get over obstacles. The healthy warrior is sober, clarity, he has sensory acuity, and that is he's awake to what's going on. And that awakeness keeps him keen and alert. It supports independence, self-sufficiency, but more important, it supports interdependence in a community. Because when there's interdependence, there's great creativity, great prosperity, and everybody brings their gift to the table. He can push himself beyond those limitations that he had before, handicap his or her dark past. He can help others that are suffering under tyranny or those in harm's way. That warrior is in you, waiting to be reborn. The homework will be similar to the homework on the lover. This is about doing your inquiry. And sometimes a warrior is a good predator. And I don't mean a predator in the negative sense. It's like hunting down something and finding out what it is. Do I need to protect it? Is it food? Or do I need to run from it? When you start your homework, put on that predator, that sleuth, and start searching. Where is it you've been a bully or mean or nasty, or you were hurt by somebody, so you found somebody a little weaker or down the pecking order, and you hurt them. On the other hand, when did you decline confrontation? When did you wimp out? It's not about shame or harsh judgment. It's about just owning what that felt like. And why is it that you didn't have access to tools or some kind of a training or support? You just didn't have the power to stand up for what you wanted, for yourself, your values, your integrity, or against an injustice. By sleuthing into those two areas, then we can come into the balanced warrior that does have his heart connected. He's setting boundaries, limitations for himself and others, following what's best for the higher good of all those involved. Find that inside of you, because there's no doubt that you've done that before. And if you can't find it, it's just because it's hidden and you're not looking deep enough. Good luck.